All right. I had to stop there for a while. Part 2 of the weekly questions and answers session. A lot of questions this week. How you make your daily routine? How you make daily routine for learn many languages good? Okay. Again, please use DeepL or Google Translate or something to spell check. ChatGPT maybe to no spell check to make sure your English is good when you write. Not just in this comment section, but everywhere, because it leaves a really bad impression if your English is really really bad. I know it's not your native language, it's not mine either. I know it's not easy, but it's definitely worth using spell check and to use something, any kind of DeepL's writing features great for it, but you can also use ChatGPT or similar. Correct your mistakes, and then type the correct answer, not the correct answer, the correct version, the corrected version, and you also learn while correcting yourself regularly. Yeah, you'll make fewer mistakes, so you eventually your English will get much better. Anyway, your daily routine to learn languages. Daily routine should be something that's doable. Consistency is really important. So if you go for some crazy, insane routine that requires extreme amounts of willpower, maybe you'll be able to do it for a short amount of time, but eventually you'll spin out and quit, or you'll just stop doing it because you lose focus. Happens as well. What I recommend is building the right habits. Yeah, you should make sure that you're doing both input, like lots of listening, and then actual study time, in which you do associations, memorize vocabulary, practice language islands, things like that. Do all the exercises. So you should plan for study time and listening time. So take your daily planner and you take your daily planner and you write down when exactly you're going to listen. On the way to work in the car, the way back from work in the car, during lunchtime. Some people do as well. While eating lunch, they listen to podcasts. While working out, while going for a run, while making dinner. Write down when exactly you're going to listen and what you're going to listen to, which podcasts. Or language islands, preferably. And then the actual study time, write down when you're going to do it. And if you write down when you're going to do it, so like when I get home from work, I'll dedicate 1 hour to learning Spanish. You'll be much more successful in your language learning if you plan your learning and you stay consistent like this. You're much more likely to stay consistent if you plan your learning. And if you stay consistent, you'll get much better results, right? So plan it. Find the time, write down when and what you're going to do, and then do it. Let me see. American Eagle says, "Hi, I would like to thank you for sharing your technique, but I do have some concerns. First, some words have multiple meanings. Yeah. So how does one create an association in such a case? Also, the association is easy for concrete words like apple, but hard for abstract words like equality. So how do we approach these abstract words? Finally, I'm doubtful of the technique because I did this for 30 words in my target language, but forgot them right after the associations. How does the process work exactly? Is it a subconscious memory of vocabulary where you recognize it as you go, or are these associations meant for a person to remember the word? I watched your video on associations, but the difficulty of doing this with abstract words with multiple meanings and the lack of memorizing these long lists makes this technique hard for me. Is there any advice you recommend? That's a lot of questions. Okay. Um, let's go. Let's answer them one by one. Some words have multiple meanings. So how does one create an association in such a case? You associate the either the most common uh, meaning, or you associate the most useful meaning, or the easiest meaning, or all of them. You can, you can create 2 or 3 different associations for each one of the meanings, right? If you have a word that normally means one thing, but then occasionally you can use it for something else, you can create an extra association for that other meaning. You could also associate the word and then, so a triple association, so you associate all 3 images together. Again, this is important. This association is easy for concrete words like apple, but harder for abstract words like equality. How do you approach these abstract words? Yeah, this is a problem often for a lot of people. What I recommend is there are 2 solutions to this, mostly. One is for words like equality, or I don't know, registration, or whatever, independence. No, independence is easy, right? But even if they are abstract words, there might be something physical, some image that you can visualize for it. So, like I just said, independence. Independence is not like you can't see an independence, but you can visualize George Washington and I don't know the names of the other ones. You can visualize, the War of Independence, and all that stuff. So you can easily visualize independence. For equality, you can visualize some activists or something like that as well. It depends on what's also, if you've got famous people or scenes from films as well are good, where they use the word, or famous people you associate with that word, that also works really well. Yeah, a specific scene from a specific film that you really like that they use, or a character that uses a specific word, and you remember the way they say it, that also works. You can use all your senses, yeah, not only your, you don't have to use visuals only. You can also use sounds, even smells, or like feel like you can feel cold or hot as well, or things like that if you for certain words. So yeah, equality, visualize some activists, for example, or like how do you visualize association? The word. Visualize some sort of association. There are lots of different associations for like. This is the NRA is an association, right? It's easy. Visualize the NRA versus like for the word association. If in that language association is different, because association itself is not it's an abstract word. There's always some word that you can visualize for it. And the second one that I was going to talk about is you break up the word. In this case, equality into equal and et or it, and you visualize both of those, or or kill, cowl, kill, something like that. Find 2 words that sound, or you break it up and then you find 2 words that sound like the parts. It's more complicated, but also it can be done. But my advice is to simply find something or someone that's visualizable, that's related to that specific abstract word, and you can visualize it. Okay. Oh, it's got more questions. Yeah. I'm doubtful the technique works because 30 words is my target language. Yeah, it won't always work, especially if you're not very experienced with it. This is a skill that you need to practice. You need to do it regularly, and you need to get better at it. And not all associations are the same. Yeah, the more vivid it is, basically the more elements there are. If you include sounds, smells, different, you visualize different things that to in the more elements you put in the story, in the association, uh, the more elements you put in the association, the easier it will be to remember. And also, you need to see them in context later. So get some input, get some listening, and those words you'll see them in context. Also, if you review them with flashcards, that's also really helpful. Flashcards, in general, it's brute force learning, and it's not the most efficient way to learn, but it works if you're very consistent. So if you use associations, you need to review those words instead of having to review them 30 times in the next 3 months, each one of those words. You'll have to review them 3 or 4 times because you'll remember much more easily. So combine associations with input and spaced repetition, and also get better at associations. It's a skill and it's practice. It's an art more than a science. Is it subconscious memory of vocabulary where you recognize if you this association means for a person to? Yeah, that's why I don't give you the exact. Sometimes I do, but I don't recommend you use my exact images for those for the associations because the way you imagine things, like in my mind, is not your mind, and the way you visualize things is not the way you visualize things, and the people I know and the things I know and my experiences are not your experiences and the things you know. So it's better to use things that are meaningful for you, right? Things that say something to you instead of what someone else prepared. You can use mine as an example, but it's much better to use your own. It's going to be much easier to remember. Yeah, it's difficult. Any advice you recommend? Yeah, practice. Just set a timer, 10 minutes, and do as many of them as you can. And take a rest, and then try again. 10 more minutes, as many of them as you can. And if you do it, or maybe 5 minute sessions at first. And I can do 30, sometimes 40 associations in 10 minutes. Do I remember all of them? Not all of them, but most of them. The more you practice, the better you'll get. The faster you'll be able to create associations, and the better they will be. Just time yourself. Look at it as working out. Like you're practicing, you're training your brain. Yeah, your creativity, your ability to, your creativity basically. Next question. Linda asks, when you do associations, do you find that you just do it once and you remember the words, or do you review the associations that you have created previously so that you can remember the words? I review the words either with SRS systems. I'm doing more of that lately because it actually works. It's kind of boring, but it works. With active recall, of course. I only see the words in English or in my native language, and then remember if I check if I remember or not. So okay, how do I say this? And then I check. Okay, I got it right. I got it wrong. That's how I use SRS or input. Lots of listening, and you see those words here rather than see those words in context regularly if they're useful words, and you remember them. But no, I don't write the associations somewhere and I don't review them. Because if you have to review the actual mental image you created, you didn't create a good mental image. You don't have to write it, you don't have to review it. If you create a good one, whenever you see the word again, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that story. which doesn't mean I automatically remember all of it. But again, it will help your memory. Okay, I've been carnivore is vegan says I've been learning Levantine Arabic, Jordanian Palestinian, which is different from other Levantine dialects, and spent weeks compiling all the resources for it. Contact me if you're interested. No learning. I mean, yeah, actually, after the summer, yeah, I'm probably going to Jordan, visit my friend there. So, but again, I use my own methods. I don't use all the resources. All the resources, especially for this kind of languages, like non-European, Asian languages, African languages, Arabic, Persian. The content, like the not the content, the learning resources tend to be very old school. It's made for Europeans, by Europeans for Europeans, or Americans, to like people who learn those languages the really old school way, and then they teach them the really old school way, uh, and it's not the best way. So I think I'll do my usual stuff for Jordanian, like Levantine Arabic. Uh, okay. In order of importance, learn reading. No, you shouldn't read. You shouldn't learn reading when you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. But it's not the first thing you should learn to read in Arabic because it's really slowing you down because you will never read very fast in Arabic if you're not a native speaker. Or if your native language is Urdu and you can already read Arabic characters, yeah. But if you come from a background where you use the Roman alphabet, reading the Arabic alphabet, you will always be very, very slow. It's a language that you should learn phonetically. Yeah, learn to read. It's interesting, and it's once you're there, you can read the signs and you can read the restaurant menus and things like that. But to learn to speak, you need a lot of speaking and a lot of listening, and reading is really going to slow you down. Okay, more questions. How to practice pronunciation? How do you practice pronunciation? Very easy. Listen and repeat thousands of sentences, and you actually listen. You pay attention, not just you know how people do that. They listen to a sentence and then they say it exactly. Basically, they say it as if they were reading it in their own language. You listen, really listen, pay attention to detail, and then repeat. And you do it over and over and over again. That's the way. And also get a lot of listening practice. Because if you don't listen a lot, it's going to be very hard to get good at both comprehension and speaking. Um, how I get better at speaking new language and not feel shy. If you struggle to speak in front of people, the solution is not to speak with more people. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Um, it, it's kind of shock therapy, right? If you're ashamed, if you're shy, and if you're too shy to talk to people, and your only way to get better at speaking with people is talking to people, you will always have to. It will always be a huge obstacle, and half the time you'll be like, "Oh no, I don't feel like it," or like you'll do it a little bit, and then you feel really ashamed, and you'll be really uncomfortable, and you'll stop. Some people are, yeah, sometimes getting out of your comfort zone, and definitely good. Like you should get out of your comfort zone, try things that make you uncomfortable. Yeah, do it. But if you can't only depend on that because if you only depend on that, you won't practice much. So what I recommend is do that, get out of your comfort zone, talk to people, but prepare on your own, create language islands, yeah, write down list of sentences, repeat them, listen to them, and repeat them over and over and over again. Lots of listening and speaking practice. Drill same sentences over and over again. Choose one topic, write as much as you can, translate it, repeat the sentences aloud over and over and over again. Or just when you're getting better, choose a topic and talk about it as much as you can in front of a mirror. Do it in front of a mirror so that you see yourself talking. Yeah, you're not melting like one of those Indiana Jones Nazis. You're speaking, nothing happens. It's okay. It's you speaking the language. Yeah. So just first use your canned lines, the stuff that you prepared, and later more and more improv. Just choose the topic in front and then talk in front of the mirror. And yeah, when you can, try to talk to people, but don't depend on that, because if you just do that, you won't do it very often, and you won't do it for long. So the total amount of practice you get, it's not much. So you should do a lot of practice and a lot of drills on your own, and then when you're in front of people, enjoy, because you'll be saying things. If you've been doing the right stuff, that kind of practice, when you're in front of people, you'll be saying the things that you've been practicing a million times. So yeah, where you're from, what you're doing here, why you speak my language, blah blah blah. You'll be able to talk about that easily, and yeah, you'll just enjoy the moment, enjoy the conversation, and then you just keep getting better because you're interacting with native speakers. Okay, so a lot of practice on your own. You will still have to get out of your comfort zone, but it'll be much less uncomfortable to get out of your comfort zone if you trained for it. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you like Duolingo? Because it's a complete waste of time. If you have people celebrating the 1,500 day streak and things like that, and they still can't speak at all and barely understand the language, what's there to celebrate? Celebrating failure and mediocrity. And I'm not into those things. If you are into wasting your time, go ahead, have fun with it, with the app, with all the little whatever streaks and points and levels and stuff. If you're into video games, yeah, go have fun with that. If you want results and you want to understand the language well and you want to speak it well, you're wasting your time with that. Delete it immediately, start learning seriously. Any advice for better listening comprehension skills? Yeah, first of all, listen to the language every day. Native speaker podcast, your language islands and native speaker podcast every day, as much as you can. Find time during the day while you are commuting, working out, doing things around the house. Yeah, earbud, and you listen to the language as much as you can. But first of all, it's really important. If you don't listen to the language often, you will never understand it well. But the other two things, vocabulary, you need a lot of vocab, so start memorizing with associations. And finally, active recall. So it's one thing to listen passively, just listen to it, and every day you understand a little bit more. That works. But if you want to accelerate the process, you should do active recall. So basically, take a list of sentences, like glossica or similar, and you listen to them one after another, and you listen to each sentence, you listen to the sentence without looking, and you try to understand, and then you check, look at the text, and you check if you understood the sentence or not, and then you listen to the next one. Yeah, did I get that? No. Okay. Did I get that? Yes. And you do it with 500, 1,000, 2,000 sentences a day. It's quite a lot, actually, but you can do it. And yeah, your comprehension will get much better because you'll get good at recognizing those words in context fast. When native speakers are saying them quickly and in a sentence, because it's one thing to identify a single word when you hear it, and it's different if it's, or when you see it, yeah, if you read them, it's easy. But if you hear them in a sentence, in a longer sentence, and all the words kind of sound like one thing, right? And it's fast, and they don't enunciate much, and for that you need to practice. Like, in order to recognize words and sentences by native speakers who speak fast, you need to practice recognizing words and sentences by native speakers who speak fast. That's why I recommend using 1.25 speed for this exercise, so that then in real life, when you listen to native speakers, it'll be slow in comparison and it'll be easier to understand. Right? Okay, let's see if I can take one last question. What's your problem with dreaming Spanish? It's working for me really well. Yeah, okay. I see more and more of these dummies posting those, my Spanish after 500 hours of dreaming Spanish, and it really works, and the best system, and this and that, and just, my problem is that it's a massive waste of time. They're talking about watching videos as if it was, like, as if they had just discovered fire or reinvented the wheel, when in reality it's just watching like thousands of hours of videos, and eventually you learn something. Eventually you'll be able to imitate what you're watching. It's extremely, it's for losers, basically. It's for people who don't value the time, people who don't want results, people who want to get some result eventually with the minimum amount of effort possible. People who value the time, people who have goals, they'll do it in a tenth of the time with real work. This stuff is all this is just input only stuff, and you should do this many months of only input. And these people are stuck in the 70s. The church of input people, the Krashen fans, they're stuck in the 70s. They want to. They live in a world where results come with no effort. And the reality of it is, if you want, and I'm not talking about extraordinary results. Obviously, for extraordinary results, you need a lot of effort. But even for good results in reasonable time, you need a lot of effort. Let alone extraordinary results. If you want some results eventually at some point in the far distant future, you do the least amount of effort thing, the easiest thing. It's a massive waste of time for people who want, results. But some people will. Those people are not. If you're one of those, this is not for you. This is for people who want extraordinary results. If you are busy and you want to learn a language fast, and you want to learn Spanish before the end of the summer because you're going on holiday somewhere, you want to speak it fluently, this is for you. If you want German for work because you go into a trade fair and you want to speak German to your company's customers and so on, this is for you. If you want to watch 3,000 hours of videos and eventually make a video about my Spanish after 3,000 hours of, this is not for you. Just go somewhere else. Sorry. Anyway, I hope that was long, right? I hope you found this helpful or entertaining at least. Sorry for all the noise. The students are down there. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I guess celebrating the exams they passed or they failed or something. Yeah. Been there, done that. So I'm not going to complain too much. Probably was 10 years ago was one of the loudest here, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to learn a language fast, the link is in the description. Get my free course, Natural Language Learning, the best, fastest way to learn a language. This is 21st century technology. All the input stuff, that's from the 70s hippies that want to get something with no effort. And the grammar and the classes and all that, that's 19th century outdated stuff. If you want 21st century technology, results, fast results, innovation, language learning that actually works in a few weeks or months, links there, right? See you on the other side.